In this video, we're going to talk about exact trig values. Okay, and this is simply for the non-calculator paper. You will find somewhere towards the end of the paper that you will need to know some of the trig values off the top of your head, and if you don't know them, that's going to stop you from answering that question. Okay, so what do I mean by exact trigonometric values? Usually on your calculator, you will do something like sine 30, and you'll put that in your calculator and it will give you a number. Most of the time, these numbers are horrible, horrible decimals, 0.1472, and it goes on forever. But there are certain ones that we need to know off the top of our head. Okay, like sine 30 is a half or 0.5. Okay. So the best way I can recommend to do this is to have sine, cos, and tan, and then 0, 30, 45, 60, and 90. Stick those in a table and try to learn each of these individual parts. Okay, tan isn't used very often. All right, sine and cos are the most common, but that's not to say that they won't ever ask you a tan one. So we have to learn all of them. And I'm going to just put this kind of in the top left corner for now. 0, a half, root 2 over 2, root 3 over 2, and then 1, like that. That is the exact trig values for sine. So sine 60, you have to be able to say that's root 3 over 2, like that. Okay. And the reason that I've put it kind of in the top corner like this, because there is a little pattern that some students like, and it goes like this: root on the top, and then always 2 on the bottom. So it's going root 0 over 2. That's 0. Root 1, square root of 1 is 1 over 2. Root 2 over 2, root 3 over 2, and root 4 over 2. Square root of 4 is 2, divided by 2 is 1. So there's a little pattern there that you can use to help you if you wish. Okay. Ideally, you would just be able to go, sine 30 is a half, like that. Once you've learnt sine, however, cos is just the reverse. 1, root 3 over 2, root 2 over 2, 1 over 2, and 0. The exact reverse of sine. So if you've learnt sine, you've kind of learnt cos, if you kind of know this pattern here. Okay. Ideally in the exam you wouldn't be going root 1 over 2, root 2 over 2, but if that helps you, it will only lose you 20 seconds or something like that. So absolutely fine. And then tan goes 0, root 3 over 3, 1, root 3, and then this one here is undefined. So tan 90 doesn't exist. So they're never going to ask you much about that, but be aware that tan 90 doesn't exist. And there's another pattern if you don't want to learn these fully. If I do sine over cos, that gives me tan. So root 2 over 2 divided by root 2 over 2 is 1. You could learn that if you wanted. Like you could try to work that out in the exam doing your kind of dividing fractions. No, thank you. I'd rather just learn that tan 45 is 1, but it's totally up to you. And essentially, on the app, it's just going to fire random ones of these at you, okay? And some of them you'll be super confident with. Like, I know this one, I know that one. And so for your revision, for your flashcards, you'll be able to whittle down the ones that you actually need to learn. Okay, so just keep going over that process until you're comfortable with any of these, what's cols of 60? That's a half. If you need to use the pattern for sine and it takes you a few more seconds, absolutely fine. But you need to know these. And I always say it to students, like, do you know sine 30? And then they're like, oh no, I forgot that one. And then it comes to the exam and they just can't start this 3 or 4 marker because they don't have these in their mind. Okay, so take the time, try to learn these. When the exam's finished, you can forget everything, okay? Unless you're doing A-level maths, and then, these are helpful. But most people will just forget these forever. It's just a bit of a grind until the end of July.